Hey there, fellow Star Wars and LEGO fans. As you can tell, today we're going to be doing another review and build of a small Star Wars LEGO set. As always, I like to start by separating all the pieces that I think may be related to different steps and sometimes even color coding them so that I can find them easier when I'm following the instructions. This might seem like overkill at first, but it will save you time in the long run. With this particular set, it starts right away with minifigs. That's typically what I like to start with anyway, so I think they caught on with everybody else doing the same thing, and they said, you know what, people dive right into the minifigs, so let's get started with that. And as you'll hear me mention later on, that is basically the whole reason people would buy this kit to begin with. It's just a great deal for the amount of minifigures that you receive. As I've mentioned before in some previous LEGO builds, there is a sensation of completion that I enjoy about building these sets, and in this one in particular, it was right around here that I started feeling that joy of just, completing a project and building something that looked like it was designed by somebody much smarter than myself. But then right around here, the handlebars were placed on what looked like the rear of the ship, and that kind of threw me off, but I figured it's Star Wars, they're going to do weird stuff, and I went with it, followed the instructions. This section here is kind of a platform or a territory to protect. I guess they wanted to create some background that was small and portable. Alright, so now we're going to take a look at the individual pieces that came with this one by one, now that they've been completely built. Starting with what I think is some sort of a speeder. I'll try to get the camera a little bit closer. I've noticed though that it gets very, very blurry. I'm working off a GoPro at the moment, so apologies, but something I wanted to point out that was worth noting is the metallic details on the figures is really cool, man. You don't really see that on a lot of figures that I've had anyway. And I have collected some Star Wars ones. You'll even notice sometimes C-3PO, which is really, really difficult to find with actual gold paint, isn't even reflective. It's just like this yellow brown. It's very difficult to get any sort of reflective paint job. And for this small kit, each and every single Mandalorian came with the shiny paint, which I think is awesome. I liked building this one. It's really simple. It kind of looks backwards. If you look at it, it does look like it's a little ship or some sort of a plane that should fly in this direction, right? Even though it does look like a mix of mismatched pieces, when you hold it and you put it together, it does feel like it's well designed. You could tell that most of the original toys that are designed by LEGO, they put a lot of thought into them. They don't just like slap random pieces together, where even rudders or whatever, even though they kind of look like they're just tacked on. Oh, look at that. They are held in place really well, where they won't like flap around if you just like move it around, and if the kid's playing around with it, it still maintains its form factor, which is pretty cool. You can tell that, when they designed it, they knew exactly how many millimeters it was going to be close to the other pieces, and they would cause it to hold in place like that. So it's really cool. These right here, all of these ones with the red caps can shoot out. I won't do it here because it's going to get lost on the carpet somewhere, and the dog might eat it. So I will show that later when I get a better angle. This one is just I guess a rocket or a booster of some type. It comes again with 4 separate Mandalorians, all different shades and different capes. Of course, you can interchange whatever parts you want. None of them are Mando or Jin from the Mandalorian, but you can create like a little team of 4 different Mandalorians. You'll notice that these helmets, I don't know if you can tell from that close range, but each helmet has a little hole on both sides. The reason for that is so that you can install the antennas that are these little, I won't put it too close because you won't be able to see it anyway. They basically look like little hammers, right? But once you attach them to the heads of the Mandalorians, it gives it that look that Boba Fett made so famous in and the original Star Wars trilogy. You'll see this guy has it on. It's a little larger than, so it's not to scale, but it's Lego, so it's never going to be. Again, a very cool collection. I like that it has multiple options and you can just mix and match whatever Mandalorians you want to have. Those guns are pretty heavy, so I gotta balance them out. The weirdest thing about this set is this little area here. Now, I understand they're going for some sort of a, territory or land or defense tower, maybe? And they did what they could, right? In very minimalist fashion, as they do with the very small pieces, the very small sets. And it's cool, but this is the part that the kids are just going to get rid of and lose. When you have it like this, you're kind of just looking at it like, what the heck is that? You cannot really tell what the heck it is, and it's just there. I guess, if you're traveling or something, a kid can take it on a road trip and be playing in the car and make do with his imagination. So that's cool. Still, Mandalorians are really the key takeaway from this set. You get 4 Mandalorians in a small kit. If you do any sort of collecting or playing with the Lego sets, you'll know that the really key parts or the best parts of these sets are the minifigs, and this comes with 4. I keep repeating that just because it's freaking awesome. You get 4 Mandos, and they don't come with faces, by the way. I don't know if you saw me build them, but they're all completely black, no expression, whatever. So keep those helmets on all the time. Another key thing that I noticed, typically when you build a set, you'll encounter extra pieces, right? That's pretty standard. Even with these small sets, you'll encounter 1-2 pieces max, and either they pack them in intentionally, like for these, they're expected, right? Because these little bullets, they're gonna get lost. You're gonna shoot them around, and they're so tiny. They're possibly some of the tiniest Lego pieces you can get. They're gonna get lost. So they give you extra, and that's expected. But on top of that, they provided some stuff in this set that I was completely surprised and pleased. There's one item, I'll save that for last, just to explain why I'm so surprised. They gave you an extra gun. They give you 2 separate little antennas, and like I said, a bunch of extra bullets. Extra territory, land configuration setting, that's pretty cool. An extra, this is what I call the trigger for those guns. It's what you push here to make it snap that little piece out and shoot. So you have an extra one of those in case that snaps off, even though installing it goes on very snug in every gun and in every rocket or whatever. I don't think this part will ever get lost, but I have extra. The ship itself on the back has this little plug that's holding onto the rocket. So it came with an extra one of those as well, and 2 other extra single dot pieces. I don't know what their technical name is. So you have extra pieces of those, which are used both in the ship and in the platform, and even an extra headlight. You may not have noticed, but there's a little light in the front. Well, not a light, but it's a clear little circle. I assume you pretend it's a light or whatever. It gave you an extra piece of that. So already you have a whole bunch of pieces. But let me show you guys this. If you're familiar with Star Wars at all, you know that the stormtroopers that ride on gliders typically have a specific type of helmet that looks very unique. They have this cool little visor that gives it a very unique look, and this set, even though it's not shown in the instructions anywhere, even though it's not shown on the packaging anywhere, it gave you 4 of these visors. I noticed that there were little holes that the ones that I mentioned earlier, on each of the helmets. They're on both sides, and typically you only see the antenna thing on this right side, and these visor things have little clips or little pegs on both sides. So I figured that must be where these guys go. And although the colors don't match, it still adds a very cool look to them that is reminiscent of those stormtroopers. I've never seen Mandalorians with them, but shoot, I think that's cool. It's awesome, dude. Like, what the value that you get for this particular set, I think is very cool. And I think any kid who's a fan of Star Wars, or any adult who's a fan of Star Wars but is a kid at heart, would be lucky to add this to their collection. They make a really cool desktop setup. If you're now so many of us working at home, you can have this, by your monitors, and that's really cool. It's a reminder to kind of escape for a few seconds, look at your figures, and then go back to work, right? Because that's what we're supposed to do. Yeah, not a big shot, not a big deal, but when you're talking about children who are playing really close range and most likely looking at the figure, they're gonna pull this trigger and they're gonna blast themselves in the eyes or something. So they do bounce around a lot, hard to find. So if you have little pets, you have little toddlers, this is not something you're gonna wanna put that part away at least. I'm most likely will be taking this thing apart and putting that away. What I like here is the figures, and even this little jet guy, I'm gonna make it into something else, but again, the figures are really what sells this set. I like them a lot, and I think you should get them too. That's it. Next video is most likely going to be something completely different. As you can tell, I don't traditionally make videos that follow any sort of pattern, and that is intentional. I have a short attention span. I don't make videos on my channel to make money. I do these all for fun. So if I get tired of doing Legos, I move on to the next thing and I do something else. So you won't see anything regular. I'm not going to tell you I'm going to be uploading a video on Wednesday, because that's not going to be true. I don't know when it's coming up. I do it when I can. I do it when I have fun, and I hope you guys enjoy watching it too. Thank you for subscribing. Hopefully you guys will check out my videos once in a while and comment. I really appreciate any sort of comment, suggestion, critique. It's all welcome. Yeah, you won't be disrespected or anything like that. From me, anyway. I can't speak for the rest of the YouTube community. Thanks for watching. I hope you guys enjoyed this silly little video, and until next time.